Hello and welcome to a very special edition of Doubles and Trebles. It's Pieman here, and after 16 days, 95 matches, and no end of drama, it all comes down to this tonight. The final of the 2023 PDC World Darts Championship will see Michael van Gerwen take on Michael Smith at a packed Alexandra Palace. Smith, of course, a runner-up last year to Peter Wright and will be playing in his third final, chasing a first victory, while MVG is looking to add that elusive fourth world crown, having triumphed in 2014, 2017 and 2019, but not for the last 3 or 4 years. Fittingly, the Green Machine lifted his last World Championship when beating Smith in the final in 2019 by 7-3, and he'll be hoping to repeat the trick tonight, while Bully Boy enters quietly confident of an upset, having finally broke that major duck in November's Grand Slam of Darts. It's a fitting final for two players who've had brilliant years on the circuit, and I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the key stats, quotes, and essential info ahead of the contest tonight. So, as always on the channel, we'll start with a quick nod to the betting odds, and I'll just bring them up for you on your screen now. And I can honestly say, I cannot remember the last time I saw Michael Smith out at nearly 3-1 to win a game of darts. As you can see, more money coming for Van Gerwen this morning as well. He's already as short as 3-10 on the exchange, 1.3 and 11-4, 14-5 knocking around for Michael Smith. Will he go off 3-1? I don't know. I think a lot of the punters will be looking to side with Smith as a popular underdog. But then the big money is going to come for Van Gerwen as well. So I don't see the market moving too much from where it is currently at 14-5. But if we just flick through to some of these specials markets as well, as you can see, that the match betting is kind of indicating that Van Gerwen is likely to win this match, and it's more a case of how many sets Smith can take off him. Van Gerwen winning whitewashes in his last 2 games against Chris Dobie and Dimitri van den Berg, of course. Not expected to whitewash Michael Smith. 7-3 and 7-4, the shortest in the scoreline betting for MVG. So an expectation that Smith will at least make a contest of it, if not win it. If we look at the sets betting, anyone that does fancy Van Gerwen to continue this streak of heavy victories may be interested to play this. Under 9.5 sets is available at a best price of 12-5 with Boyle Sports. Now, that is very generous, really, because that is saying that Smith will get to, if you believe MVG is going to win, Smith would have to get to 4 sets to make that a loser. Now, given Dimitri van den Berg and Chris Dobie have not managed to take a single set off Van Gerwen in his last 2 outings, I'm sure that 12-5 would appeal to anyone who wants to side with the Dutchman for a comfortable victory. But yeah, I thought that was one that sort of stood out, not necessarily for myself, but for those who are looking to side with the heavy Van Gerwen victory. As you would expect, Van Gerwen on the handicaps has got plenty of cover. Smith there with a 2.5 start, even money there. So looks like he's got his work cut out for him according to the market. And as you would expect, no end of specials on this game. A 170 checkout, which both players have achieved in this tournament. Van Gerwen doing so last night. It's 4-1. Could be a fun bet for some people. It's not my kind of party. That's more of a casual bet, I think. But I do have a best bet. It is a special, and we will come to that at the end of the video. But first, we just want to run through things ahead of tonight. So, looking at their 2 respective runs to the final first, and I think we start with Michael Smith. Smith has flickered between very comfortable and very uncomfortable throughout this tournament, but he's made it to the final, and that is ultimately all that counts. He eased past Nathan Rafferty in round 1 3-0 before having to launch a monumental comeback against Martin Schindler in round 2, a game where he was 3-1 down but would eventually win 4-3. And he was really good in them last 2 sets because Schindler didn't really wilt, to be honest. It was very much a case of Smith finding an extra gear. Then next up against Joe Cullen, a game that was expected to be close. He was electric, averaging well over a ton in a convincing 4-1 win, although it must be said Cullen didn't really live up to the billing in that one. And then he found himself really struggling again in the quarterfinals against Stephen Bunting. In all honesty, Smith should have been knocked out by the bullet, but he found a way through 5-3, Bunting missing over 40 darts at double. And he needed to improve hugely against Gabriel Clemens, the surprise semi-finalist. But the German was electric throughout this tournament. And boy, did Smith bring his best to the table last night. It was a fantastic tussle for the best part of an hour, exchanging sets before Smith got the vital break in the last leg of set 6. And then he was able to kick on and win that game 6-2. The scoreline making it a lot more comfortable on the eye than it actually was. I think the key for Smith tonight is going to be to carry that form into tonight's game. He can't afford any kind of dip. He actually has to find probably another level if he's going to go with Van Gerwen. And to be honest, I feel relatively confident that he'll do just that. MVG's run has obviously been far more consistent, but equally dramatic. He holds the tournament record average at Ali Pali from his 2017 run. That's around the 106, 107 mark. He comes into this game averaging a tournament best of 104. So he's really not far off peak Van Gerwen. And if we discount his opening 3-0 win over Louis Williams, where he didn't hit the heights but still won extremely comfortably, you just can't knock what he's done in this tournament. Averages of 107, 100, 102, and 108 in brutal defeats of Mensur Suljovic, Dirk van Dijvenbode, Chris Dobie, and Dimitri Van den Berg. He was excellent against Van den Berg last night, that 108 average, and he's now won 13 straight sets, which is absolutely remarkable. Van den Berg, in fairness, missed 3 clear darts to win the 4th set, but other than that, he didn't get a look in, and it was a really relentless performance from Van Gerwen. We are really running out of superlatives to describe this tournament for him. But it'll all ultimately mean nothing to MVG if he doesn't get over the line tonight. He keeps talking about he hasn't achieved anything yet. And while we're able to wax lyrical over what he's done so far, I think that is right. You know, for someone who's already won multiple titles, it's now all about the glory, all about the legacy for Van Gerwen. And as well as he's playing, if he turns up and loses 7-5 tonight to Michael Smith, it will feel like a huge disappointment for him. I think it's been a masterclass from Van Gerwen in beating down opponents mentally. He started quickly in all of his games and he's kept his foot on the throttle throughout. He hasn't given his opponent a chance to start. He took the lead in all 4 of his contests so far, all 5 of his contests, sorry. And if he does so again tonight, it's going to be really tough for Michael Smith. I think you have to say mentally that Van Gerwen will be in the better place of the two, though I don't think it's by much. I think Michael Smith should feel significantly less pressure here than he did last year. Of course, he desperately wants that first world title, but he's in a place now in his career where he talks about playing till he's 50, and he talks about having 16 or 17 more goals at this World Championship if he doesn't win this final. I think that's a great attitude to have because he's clearly got a lot of faith in his game, getting him into multiple finals, and so he should. He has a lot less pressure on him this year. Last year against Peter Wright, he still had that cloud hanging over him of never having won a major. And he was also given a significantly bigger chance of winning by the betting markets. A player of Smith's calibre is never going to fear an opponent, I don't think. And he must be conscious that this is somewhat of a free hit against their near-peak Van Gerwen. Many pundits and fans have already got Van Gerwen's name on the trophy. And I think that must suit Smith. He'll have the crowd behind him in large sections, although Van Gerwen's never an unpopular player. But, you know, this isn't going to be Smith turning up for a Van Gerwen exhibition, a little bit like it was for Chris Dobie in the quarterfinal. And Dimitri, as much as I think he talked a good game, he ultimately realised after 2 or 3 sets that he was just in the middle of a hurricane and there was nothing he could do. Now, we saw firsthand against Gabriel Clemens that Michael Smith can stand up to relentless scoring and can stand up to impressive finishing. So I don't expect him to be rolled. I think after 4 sets, there's no way it's going to be 4-0 tonight. 3-1 or 2-2 seems likeliest to me. But beyond that, perhaps MVG's sheer consistency will see him over the line. I think Smith's previous experience in a World Championship final will stand him in really good stead. He knows that this is a long old game over 13 sets. This is the longest game a professional darts player can play. And you've got to take it and break it down into mini sessions and mini sections. So if Smith does go behind, he won't panic. He'll be looking to win one of those first 2 sets, one of the next 2 sets as a minimum, and then build a platform from there. Let's not forget, over 9 sets against a really informed Peter Wright last year, Michael Smith was 5-4 up. So I think any thoughts of him being whitewashed 7-0 can probably be discounted. As good as Van Gerwen has been, we just have to give Michael Smith a little bit more respect than that. So, prediction time then, and I'm sorry to be boring, but I do ultimately see a Michael Van Gerwen victory. I think that correct score market is about right. I think it's going to be 7-3 or 7-4. Smith will certainly have his moments tonight and make it more competitive than Van Gerwen's last 2 outings. But I think MVG is just near his very best. And other than Phil Taylor, we've never seen the like. so you can't really oppose it. If I had to go for a scoreline, I would go 7-4 to Van Gerwen. But my best bet of this contest is actually in the specials market, match doubles. Now, any regular viewers will know that I don't really like to put up match trebles because I think the highest checkout element of that bet is just pure pot luck. All the players at this end of the World Championship are capable of taking out a 170. So there's no point dabbling in that market. However, there are a couple of bookies, Bet365, Boyles, Sky, that all offer the match double, which allows you to bet on just the winner of the match and the match 180s market. Now, Smith is an odds-on 1 to 2 chance to triumph in the 180s, shorter in places. And I think even if he loses this game tonight, there's a very strong chance he's going to outscore Van Gerwen in the maximums department. There's a bit of a misconception, I think, that an easy win equates to more maximums being hit. But when you have a player as versatile as Van Gerwen, 171s, 174s, and 177s are all just as likely as a 180. He loves to switch. He loves to use all parts of the board, sometimes because it makes sense mathematically, sometimes it's just because he can. Smith, on the other hand, is quite a reluctant switcher. He will stay up top and cram in the 180s. He's probably the game's best 180 hitter, perhaps Dirk van Dijvenbode aside. So, I'm really happy to take Smith in the 180s market. He's a deserved 1 to 2 chance. But I think even with all those 180s, he's still probably going to come up short against a peak Van Gerwen. Now, I've had a little look around, and while a couple of outlets even have this bet slightly odds on, and Ladbrokes have it evens, Sky Bet go 13 to 8 on 11 to 8, on Michael Van Gerwen to win the match and Michael Smith to hit the most 180s. For me, that is a rock solid way of taking an interest in this final as a single. Do have a look on Betfair because they've got some fantastic your odds markets priced up. Really impressed with their offering. I mean, Sky always offer a lot of markets, but it's very much with the statistical leaning. Betfair have definitely gone that extra mile for me in terms of sort of personalising the options. There's a lot more variety to their offerings, and I'm going to have a good troll through those markets later today and see if I can find anything. If I do find anything of interest, I'll pop it up on the Doubles and Trebles Twitter, which you can follow at @doublestrebles_. So I think that concludes our final preview. Pretty quick fire. I hope you enjoyed it. And let me know who you're backing for glory tonight in the comments below. I want to see your correct scores and best bets. I hope you've enjoyed our coverage throughout this tournament. We've had some great numbers and feedback on the videos, and we're really hopeful that 2023 is going to be a big year for doubles and trebles. If you haven't already, please hit like on this video and please do subscribe to the channel. The quicker we can get to 1,000, the better. And the YouTube algorithm seems to be enjoying our content at the moment. So yeah, every subscribe and every like helps us that little bit more. We've got no end of darting content planned in January too. We're going to have our tournament review coming up, players to watch in 2023. I've got some thoughts on Gerwen Price and his ear defenders coming up, Q-School predictions, Masters preview, interviews, and much, much more. So don't miss out. Stick with us. It's been really good having you on board during the tournament, and I hope you enjoyed tonight's final. Thanks very much for watching.